Hi, this is Bob Kramer. Welcome back to Kramer's Garage. This is episode 7 of the GL1000 basket case project. So, no, this is episode 8. This is episode 8 of the GL1000 basket case project. So the bike is mostly together now. In episode 7, I showed you the wiring and how I rewired the whole bike. So here's the new wiring all loomed up. So it's ready to go. This bike, as near as I can tell, has probably not been started in 20 years until today. I did get it to start a few minutes ago. So I'm going to show you how it runs, or at least how it starts. So we turn it on. All right, the X3 blinks the lights to let you know that it's ready to go. I have the air cleaner off. I did spray some starter fluid in it. I'm not sure if I still need it, but anyway, let's give it a little throttle and wow. Mufflers are Harley-Davidson takeoffs. So I guess we can expect it to sound like a Harley. Headlight works. There's one function of this X3 that's not working. The turn signals are supposed to be also acting as marker lights, so they should be on right now. The tail light's on, the turn signals are not. So I'm going to have to resolve that. But anyway, I just put oil in it today. Oh, let's look at the oil pressure. So there's my oil pressure. On a cold engine, it's running what? I can't see it. I got to get a light. It's running about 60. That's on a cold engine. I expect as it warms up, the oil pressure will go down. I've done the ignition timing. About all that's left to do on this is synchronize the carburetors, and then I'll start putting the bodywork together. I don't know if I'm going to make a video about putting bodywork together. It's pretty straightforward and almost self-explanatory. But anyway, here it is. So I'm going to go ahead and put the bodywork together, I think, and show you guys what it looks like all put together. But there it is running. I need to warm it up to operating temperature. Oh look, my temperature gauge is working. It's starting to move. My fuel gauge is not on here right now. It's going to be right here on the top shelter. So here's the plug for it. So when I put the top shelter together, I just plug the fuel gauge in right there. Wow. First time it's run in 20 years. Doesn't sound too bad. The idle is starting to pick up. Turn it down a little. idle speed adjustment, of course, after synchronizing. And since it's warming up nicely, I think I'm going to just go ahead and let it warm up, and it's not filling the garage with smoke. Of course, I have the door open and I have the fan on. So I think I'm just going to go ahead and let it warm up right now and synchronize the carburetors. I don't know how accurate this tachometer is. If you remember in episode 2, I had that tachometer all apart and back together. So I don't know if I would rely on it as an absolute true value, but it seems like it's reading just a little high. I think the idle right now is below 1,000, just from the way it sounds. All right, ladies and gentlemen, here it is. It's all together. It runs. You saw it running. I put a clean piece of cardboard under it, and there's no drips on the cardboard, so I don't believe anything's leaking. We'll continue to keep an eye on that. But anyway, I'm about to take it out of the garage and give it its first test ride. This will be the first time this bike has been ridden in about 20 years. And you saw it when I started. It was definitely a basket case. And now here it is, ready to go. So, it's almost all stock except for the wiring, which I showed you in episode 7. I showed you the wiring, and I used an aftermarket fuel gauge. It runs on 12 volts instead of 7, and I had a local machine shop make this aluminum ring for me because the new gauge is slightly smaller in diameter than the old gauge. So I just simply glued that ring on to the cover and put the new fuel gauge in, and it does work. I'm not completely done with this. There's a few details to work out. The hardware for the battery side cover, that hardware is not right, so I have to do something with that. I don't have hinge pins for the side covers here, the shelter side covers. I do have emblems. I didn't put them on yet. As you can see, the paint on this one is quite faded. I may wind up repainting at least one or both sides of this. If I paint, I'll probably paint both sides and try to get them to match that. The paint on the top is really good. It may have been repainted once, I don't know, but the paint on the side covers has definitely been redone. This is a repaint. So anyway, so those are the details to work out. All right, so anyway, I'm going to gear up and take this bad boy out for its maiden voyage. Stay tuned. All right, there it is in the lineup with the other two. My other bike is an 83 Gold Wing and then a Royal Enfield 650. And now we add the GL1000 to the collection. Okay, I just pushed the choke all the way in. It's idling pretty low. We'll see where it's at when we warm up. Okay, I'm going to adjust the clutch before I go. I don't have enough free play in the clutch lever. Try it there. Yeah, that's better. I don't know why my neutral light is flickering. Brake works. I'm going to go around the block once before I head to the gas station. Back to the garage. I only have 2 gears. I need to look at my gear shift lever and find out why there's only 2, why I can only get 2 gears. There's something wrong with the gear shift.
Oh, really? What do you think?
When I push the lever down, it sticks down. It doesn't go back up. Oh. When I push it up, I might have to take the front cover back off. Okay, so it does work, but for some reason when I push it down it doesn't spring return back to its original position. So I may wind up having to take the front cover back off, which doesn't make me real happy. Now the starter's failing to engage. Try it again and see if I can manipulate that clutch and get it working, or that gear shift and get it working. Well, now the X3 is triggering an alarm. I don't know why. Back to the garage and tighten up my mirror. I didn't have any tools with me. The mirror was flopping around. Okay, so there's a couple of bugs to work out of this. Some of this might work out just after being ridden a few times. It's been my experience when that sprag clutch slips, the one for the starter, fails to engage. It's been my experience that after you ride the bike a few times, it frees itself up and starts working good again. And that's happened in, there was only one of these bikes that I did that I actually had to take it back apart and put new rollers in the sprag clutch. But usually I just ride it a few times and that frees itself up. And I'm hoping that gear shift lever will also free up. If not, I'll be pulling the front cover off. Okay, I just filled the gas tank and I put non-ethanol in it because it's going to be sitting for a few weeks. Anyway, my fuel gauge is now reading full. Let's see how she starts up. It's in gear. So even though the neutral switch appears, now it's not in gear. Nearly up to operating temperature. Tank is full. Let's go for a ride. see if things start to loosen up. In order to downshift, I need to slightly lift the shift lever with my toe and then push it back down to execute the downshift because the lever is sticking. I don't know if it's just sticking because it sat for 20 years or if one of the springs on the mechanical mechanism inside the front cover of the engine is bad or broken or missing. I should have paid closer attention to that when I had that apart. But anyway, so I may wind up having to take that apart again and address that issue. There's also an electrical malfunction that's causing the starter motor to just spontaneously start running, which is why I had to stop and kill the engine with the ignition key and then turn it back on and restart the engine. And then the problem is corrected. But you certainly can't ride a bike that with the starter spontaneously starting up on its own like that. So that's an electrical issue that's going to have to be resolved with NWT. And also the headlight has now stopped working. So there's another electrical problem, probably related to the NWT system. So it looks like I've got a few electrical gremlins to work out. I believe they're related to the NWT system. It might wind up being a warranty issue. I won't really know until I return back to this project in February. I am about to take a 12-week trip overseas. Okay, well, I've completed the test ride. This has a few little gremlins, a few problems that need to be resolved. The first, some of them are electrical gremlins that might have to do with some faulty components in the X3 system, maybe. I don't know. I have to talk to David at X3 and find out about the electrical gremlins. And then the fuel pit cock leaks. I filled the tank when I went for my test ride, and now I'm draining it back out because my fuel pit cock is leaking. So I'm going to take that apart and readdress that. And then my neutral switch isn't working right, and I hope I can get that sorted out without having to take the engine back out of the frame. Honda, in their infinite wisdom, they put the neutral switch in a position where you cannot access it without removing the engine from the frame. Pretty poor design in my opinion. Anyway, I'm going on a extended vacation for about 12 weeks, so I'll be back in February. So this is going to be the last episode of this basket case series until February, and then I'll see if I can resolve all the little gremlins that I discovered on my test ride, and then I'll do a follow-up video and another test ride. But there's going to be a 12-week delay. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you in 12 weeks.